Over the Christmas New Year break, as you put together your career plans for 2024, one of the things I think you should be considering is what is going to be your strategy around securing a second source of income. You know, the days of relying on one employer and having job security are pretty much obsolete. The reality is that we are in a very uncertain world. The economy has been flat here in Australia for some time. We've, sort of soldiered through, the worst of the pandemic. We've come out on the other side to a high level of economic uncertainty, and cost of living has gone up, job security has diminished, and for a lot of executives, they're going to have to pivot into different industries. And, the reliance on the single source of income is very limiting, and obviously with cost of living pressures makes it incredibly hard to make ends meet. And you can't always be moving jobs every couple of minutes to try and get an uplift in salary, because those uplifts aren't necessarily there. People often are initially daunted by the concept, but what you need to do is start to think about areas where you could commercialize yourself. What skills, competencies, experiences do you have that could be calibrated into some sort of a commodity that could be sold in the market? So a lot of executives have intellectual property. They have the capacity to share their thought leadership. That could lead to providing the market with a book, some form of an ebook, some sort of an education program, some sort of e-learning course. That would be an obvious place to potentially capitalize. A lot of people have certain skills that would enable them to facilitate, meetings and bring the best out of people and bring different information to the table. So facilitation is a key way that often people develop a side hustle. People will often do mentoring, coaching, or specialist advisory work. All of that is valid, and often some of that work can be done in a very much a part-time, private capacity. I know a lot of people who started their coaching businesses by coaching on a Saturday morning at their local cafe and building up a small coaching practice to the point that it became economically viable. So there's all different ways you could potentially get started. For senior executives, you could consider serving on boards. Eventually, boards will be remunerated. In the early days, it might not be, but in the longer term, the longer play would be that these roles are remunerated, and a good quality board seat can pay, 60 to 80,000 per annum. Now, that's very nice additional income on top of an existing salary. So there's all different ways you can commercialize. You could also look at different e-commerce businesses. I'm tracking a particular lady up here in Queensland, and she develops an entire e-commerce website. It's ready to go, turnkey. It's in a target market where there's a good level of interest. There's a lot of Google searches for this particular product or service that's being offered in the e-commerce shop, and she provides all the facilities to connect in with the manufacturers, the supplier lists, the ability to be able to turn your shop on in a heartbeat. Now, that obviously comes at a cost, but it's got the potential to generate up to $10,000, $20,000 extra income per month. So there's a whole raft of things that you could look at from an e-commerce perspective. There's also different skills that you could develop that then enable you to offer a service in the market. So, for me personally, I could go and get qualified as a mediator. That would give me a different type of income stream, a different type of clientele. It would augment my existing practice, augment my existing skills. So everyone has to look at it individually, but I think it's a priority. And once you get into the habit of doing this, once you get past setting up a second source of income, your priority will shift pretty quickly to identifying a third source of independent income. All the wealthy people in the world have multiple sources of income, and the primary way that most people drive their personal wealth is through their own resources, their own capacity. But what we have to look at is how you can fully commercialize your skills and competencies, and how you can shift from just trading time for income, because that is finite. That can only go so far. There's only so many hours in the week. So you have to obviously maximize those hours in the week. Plus, you need to look at other mechanisms in the longer term where you can sort of make income while you're sleeping. And that could be a raft of different things, including investment opportunities. But my key advice is as you head into Christmas, New Year, the end of the year, you're doing your planning for 2024, make it a priority that you have at least one additional source of income in 2024. I can assure you that will release a lot of worry, a lot of stress. It will create a much better outcome for yourself and your family, and it will help future-proof you from any sort of circumstances, volatility that might come our way.